Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to play Blitzkrieg 1939 Guderian, a game about several battles fought by the German 19th Armored Corps led by the father of the Blitzkrieg, General Heinz Guderian himself. And in this game we are going to play a scenario about the Battle of Różan. Now, I guess that most of you have a little knowledge about 1939 campaign, and you probably don't know what the hell is going on, what is this Różan, and why it was pretty important. So, to let you see the stuff, let's move on a bit now on the map from the other game, a game titled Poland 1939. Which was released a couple of years ago, and it was a game about the entire Polish campaign, but this map will come in handy when I will want to show you what the hell is going on in this little tactical scale map. So, Germans attacked from many directions, and one of the bases of their attack was Eastern Prussia. Their main attack came on the Mława. It was a fortified area, and it took Germans 4 days to break through the Mława, defended by the Polish 20th Infantry Division. After breaking this position, Germans had multiple ways to move. They decided to attack like that to encircle Warsaw. So some of their forces were coming from the west, and some of their forces were about to move from the north to encircle Warsaw. The only main problem was River Narew, which is here. This is not a very big river, not that big like, for example, Vistula, but it could be a problem, because 3 important towns there where bridges were situated were old Russian fortresses. These are Putusk, Różan and Ostrołęka. So Germans had to capture at last one of these bridges to make their way forward. So they targeted Różan, and German Armored Division Kempf, which was somehow a combined division of some small units, and it was not as strong division as German regular armored divisions, made its surprising attack onto the Różan. And that's where we are. So let's go and back onto the tactical map. So here we are in our game. So we can go on and check the situation. German units attacked quickly, and Polish units there were scattered. Poles weren't ready for such a quick attack, and they didn't make a solid line of defense on River Narew. So when German tanks attacked Różan, there was desperate and bloody, yet still there was a desperate and bloody battle for this town, but there were only 2 Polish battalions here. It wasn't enough to stop German advance made by the tanks, armored cars and artillery supported by the AO units. And because of that, Poles had to withdraw on the other side of the River Narew, and Germans captured a bridgehead that allowed them to attack forward. So that's how it went, and here we have this battle. This battle comes with 2 scenarios, and there is scenario 1, which we are going to play, about the battle of the first day of the 5th of September, and there is a scenario that allows a player to play a 3 days battle, where more German and Polish units appear on the board, and Poles have some small but still a chance to stop Germans or to slow down their advance. Still, pretty hard battle for Poles, but not something very easy for Germans as well. Why? Because there is one key point on the entire map, and it is a bridge in Różan, and if Germans wouldn't be able to capture this bridge very quickly, and Poles would be able to form some stiff line of defense on the river Narew, then Germans might have a problem. So, that's when it comes to the introduction, and now let's check our units. As for Poles, we have elements of 41 Infantry Division and 33 Infantry Divisions. These are mostly single infantry battalions. We have some artillery. We have some also a cavalry company, squadron, which cavalry squadrons in the Polish infantry divisions were reconnaissance units. And we also have combat engineers company and anti-tank unit. As for Germans, we have a mixed group from the camp division. We have motorized combat engineers battalion, armored cars battalion, motorized artillery SS unit. We have 2 armored companies and 1 motorized SS battalion. So these are not very big units, strong units. More of them are about to come later. You can see here above, these are reinforcements. There is even a very unique unit, which was a German 1st Cavalry Brigade. Germans hadn't much of the cavalry units at the beginning of the game, of the war. They formed more of them later, when the war went not as much as they planned. But even so, this is pretty interesting to see German cavalry in action. Also, they have some more tanks coming. As for Poles, there are some infantry battalions. Also, the Germans have 1 ground attack air force counter to use, and Poles have 1 minefield. When you play against another human player, you are using a minefield hex in this way. You are choosing a hex where it is placed, then you are making a note with a number of such a hex and hit it somewhere, and when enemy unit enters such a hex, you are revealing that this was a hex where you placed your minefield. This might be a problem when we play solo. Yeah, I know. So I made my quite a home rule about it, which says every time enemy unit makes a move, we have to make a roll. If it's 4, 5 or 6, a minefield is there. When the first minefield is revealed, because we have only 1 minefield, then it remains on this hex and we don't have to roll anymore. If there would be more minefields, we would have to roll more for any other hex, till all the minefields would be revealed. So, that's all when it comes to the preparations, and this scenario takes, let me check, 1 day if we play historically, or we can make it longer and play 3 days long. This it depends on how we like to play it. Okay, so let's go and carry on with the game. We are starting with turn 1. I talked a lot about this system's mechanics in my previous video, so I'm not going to be as detailed as before, but even so, we are starting with a air phase. So we have only 1 air unit in this scenario. This is 1 German ground attack air unit. Poles have no anti-air artillery, so we won't have much to do when it comes to the air stuff in this scenario. So let's go, that's all. He is not in danger because there are no enemy fighters on the board. So we are skipping all this airborne phase, sea landing phase and so on. We are moving straight into the German movement phase. So I will start with these combat engineers. They move here, and then, like I said, I have to make a roll for a possible minefield appearance. So let's go. I rolled 3, no minefield. Then here, these are combat engineers, so they are moving through the small river while spending less movement points than the normal units. They just have to spend 2 movement points. So they spend 2 movement points moving here. Sorry, 1 movement point. Then 2 movement points moving through the river, so 3 movement points. 1 movement point moving here, so 4 movement points. And then another minefield roll. And this is 6. So yes, here is a minefield. So we have to place a minefield counter. And while they are combat engineers, there is a much smaller risk that they will suffer any losses. For the normal units, we have to make rolls and check the table to see if they suffered any losses. But if there are combat engineers, we have to make a roll, and if there is other result than 6, they suffer no losses. If there is 6, they suffer 1 strength point loss. So let's make a roll. Oh my! That was a very unlucky roll. So our brave combat engineers have to suffer 1 strength point loss. They are 505 combat engineers battalion from the Panzer Division camp. So they had 4 and now they have 3. Okay, that's all for them. And now we have to move this entire big stack of units. So let's go on. First we have a German German SS battalion. So this is a secondary road. So 1, 2, 3, and this is a normal road. So 3, 4, 5. Same goes to the tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And next we have Armored Cars battalion. And in fact we don't have much to do save the moving here as well. Why? Because here is a big river and motorized units cannot cross big rivers. Here is small river, and to cross a small river, motorized unit has to start its movement on the hex adjacent to such a small river. So there is no way for me to move these cars like here and to try to encircle poles. I have to move just like before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this motorized artillery. It has 5 hexes range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I won't have to move it closer because they have already enemy in the range. So that's all when it comes to the German movement phase. Not much to do here. Next we have Polish counterattack phase, and now the Poles are allowed to make any counterattacks. No, they are not. They haven't any units that could perform any counterattack, because if you want to make a counterattack, you can move your unit or stack 1 hex and to make such a unit adjacent to the enemy unit, and then such a unit might attack. But we don't have any situations like that, because only this Polish combat engineers company could actually counterattack. I could move it here and to make an attack against this German stack, but it would be suicide. This is a single combat engineers company against 2 German battalion armored companies, 1 German motorized battalion and 1 German reconnaissance battalion, and also it would be attack against big river and when you attack through the big river, your strength is halved. So that would be suicide. So no counterattacks for Poles. We are moving straight into the German combat phase. And now Germans are going to make one big attack against these two Polish battalions. We will see if they will be able to make their way through the Różan. First, let's calculate our unit's strength. So first, Germans. This artillery moved, and artillery that moves has its strength reduced during the next combat phase. First, it is motorized artillery. You can see by the truck icon here. So it has strength lowered by 1. So it has 5, so now it has 4. So 4 plus 5, so it's 9, plus 3, it is 12, plus 4, so it is 16. Each of tank companies has 3, so it is 20. So it is 19, 22, and they have 5, so we have 27. You may ask why these tank companies are so weak. Because they just participated in the Battle of Mława, where German camp armored division had to attack Polish bunkers right from the march. And it wasn't a very wise decision. German tanks suffered big losses from the Polish anti-tank guns, anti-tank rifles, minefields and so on. That's why these tanks are weaker than normally. So we have 27, and now for Poles. Each of these infantry battalions has 4, so they have 8, and now Poles can use this German artillery, sorry, Polish artillery. So it has 5, and when artillery supports defense, it has its strength halved, so it has 3. So we have 8 plus 3, it is 11, 11 against 27, and 11 against 27 is 2 to 1. Yes, it's 2 to 1, so these are our initial odds. And now we have to check for modifiers. First we get +1 because of our combat engineers participating in this combat, so we have 3 to 1. And next, the stars. Each star provides us some modifiers, but we can use only one modifier. We have to check each unit modifier and choose the best. So you can see here is 1 star, here is 1 star, and here are 2 stars. So we'll be using 2 stars. So we had 5 to 1, sorry, we had 3 to 1, and now because of the stars we have 5 to 1. Okay, now for Polish modifiers. First, these Polish units are fortified. You can see a fortification counter below them, so it is 4 to 1. They are in the city. You can tell the difference with city and town by the color of the buildings and the size. So this is definitely town. Sorry, this is definitely city. So we had 5 to 1, 4 to 1 because of the fortifications, 3 to 1 and 2 to 1 because city provides us +2 modifier for the city. So it's 2 to 1. Let's make a roll, and it is 4. 4 in the combat table. It is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex. 1 and 1. So we get the Różan. This is pretty good. But we still don't have control over the entire bridge, so because the other part of the bridge is in the Polish hands. And now each of these units retreat on the hex with a friendly unit. And when your unit retreats on the hex or through the hex with a friendly unit, it has to suffer 1 strength point loss. So these guys have to suffer 1 strength point loss each. Also, they were retreating to the river, so they have to suffer additional 1 strength point loss, because retreating through the river, even through the bridge, is very hard, because you know, imagine that you have 2 infantry battalions are trying to make their way through the bridge on the river, and there is enemy on the just following them. So it is not something very easy to do. So that's why each of them suffers another 1 strength point loss. You may ask why I didn't just move them there, so they wouldn't suffer any losses like that. Yes, that's an option, but if I would do so, then this bridge will be defended only by the single combat engineers company, and I think this is not a very good idea. So now let's go to check losses. So Germans had 27, so we were using 2630 verse. Now +2 because of the stars. We only use modifiers for stars and for terrain here. So 2630, 1, 2, 3640, and now 1, 2 because of the city, and -1 because of the fortifications. So 21, 25. And now we are making a roll. Pretty good. It's 10. 10 means additional 2 strength point loss for Poles. So each of these infantry battalions suffered some serious losses, as you can see. They started with 4 strength points and now they have only 2. Okay, and now for German losses. Poles had 11, 1 because of fortifications, 1, 2 because of the city, and 1, 2 because of the German stars. So it's 16, 20. And now it's 7. 7 in 21, it is 1 strength point loss for Germans. So I will make my... I think I will make these armored cars weaker by 1. And that's all when it comes to the German combat phase. Next we have a German supply phase, but we have no problems here. Germans had a supply from the north and from the west, so they are all in supply. And next we are going into the Polish movement phase. Sorry, first I have to remove this and AO unit, because it has no use in this turn anymore. So now we have Polish actions. And we don't have any AO units for Poles, so we can't place any. And next we have Polish movement phase. So what Poles are about to do? I think I will move this artillery. This is normal artillery, not motorized or so. So I have to check for the normal road. It has half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it moves. Now I will move this cavalry. 1, 2, 3. This Polish battalion goes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will place this infantry battalion here to protect this artillery. Same goes to this battalion. It goes here. So it is interesting that in this system field artillery can be also used in some situations, and as the anti-tank artillery, firing on them right from right they are coming. You can see that artillery also have some small tank, anti-tank gun and armor factor. These are not very big, but still they can suffer some losses to the German tanks. And next, this group. Here we have mounted cavalry with anti-tank gun with an infantry battalion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I will place them somewhere here. And now this infantry battalion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's all when it comes to the Polish movement phase. And next we have a Polish combat phase. Well, Poles are here. Of course, they are they are adjacent to the enemy units, yes, but they don't have to attack. Why? Because they are in the fortifications, and units that are in the fortifications doesn't have to attack enemy on the adjacent hexes. Also, they are on the other side of the big river, and big river nullifies enemy zones of control. So these units don't have to attack each other. Of course they can if they want to, but they don't have. So that's all when it comes to the Poles. When it comes to their supply, they are all in supply. So we are finishing first day phase of the 5th of September. We are starting second daily turn, because in this system, or in most of the games of this system, we have 2 daily turns and 1 night turn. So we are starting with a turn 2, and the Germans are getting some reinforcements. They get Panzerdivision camp headquarter, artillery unit of the Panzerdivision camp. You can see that this is heavy artillery with a range of 7, and we get the entire armored regiment. Interesting fact is that you can see that this regiment has 2 companies of the light tanks and 1 company of the medium tank. And finally, we get German cavalry brigade that contains 2 cavalry regiments and 1 artillery unit, and they are starting a game here. So these are all. Now we can make a movement. First we have an air phase. So I am placing this air unit here, so I will be able to use it on the board. And now what I'm going to do. This is a big river, and as for cavalry, can I make it true? Let me check. Big river, cavalry, no. So all I can do is this is a normal road. As for normal road, cavalry has a half. So 1, 1.5, 2.5. They go here as well. Now should I move this artillery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't even have to move it. It still has enough points, enough range to fire on these Poles. And now these combat engineers, 1, 2. So all these Polish units German units will make attack through the big river, so their strength will be halved. So this is not good, but well, I don't have too much to do now. 1, 2, 3. This is a big river, so no zone of control here. 4 and 5. I will place this tank like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These tanks will go here. This headquarter will go here, and this artillery. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One hex. No more. No, no. So I have to move them anyway. Let's move them. Or maybe not here, maybe here. So they will be still able to support our combat. So that's all when it comes to the German combat, movement phase. Next we have Polish counter-attack phase, and I don't think I will perform any counter-attacks. Again, I have no situations where my counter-attacks could be effective, so I am moving I'm moving into combat phase. First I am attacking here. These tanks are attacking through the big river against this Polish cavalry. So this Polish cavalry company has 1 strength point, and these tanks have they are stronger, I believe. Camp division 317 and 117. So they have 7 and 6. And because they are attacking to the river, I have to halve their strength. So they have 4 and 3, so they have total of 7. 7 against 1, so it's 7 to 1. And I will give them support of this artillery. So this artillery has 5. It is halved, so it is 3. So they have 4 against 7. 4 against 7 is 2 to 1, and also when I am attacking to the river I can't use my star modifiers. So I have 7 against 4, so it's just 2 to 1. Let's make a roll. It is 6. 6 in the 2 to 1 is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex and attacker moves here. Now let's calculate losses. Germans had 7, so it's 610. It is 6. 6 in the 610, no losses. Poles were able to move away before they suffered any significant losses, and now Poles had 4. So we will use 4, 5. Oh! They get 12. This means Germans suffered 2 points losses. So these tanks, some of these tanks were knocked out during their movement to the big river, I guess. So each of these tank companies suffer 1 strength point loss. Now this is interesting. Now it is 117 and 317. Okay, it was our first combat, and next we go into the more important battle that goes here. I'm going to give these units big support of artillery and air units, so I hope I will be able to nullify these negative modifiers of river and other. So let's go and count Germans' strength. So artillery. First we have a cavalry artillery. It has 5. This artillery has also 5, so they have 10. Now this artillery moved. It is heavy artillery with 6, and now because it moved it is lowered by 1, so it is 5. So we have 15, 20 because of the air unit, and now we have to check the strength of this unit. Of these units we have 20, and now they have 6, so it is 3, so it's 23. They have 4. Sorry, they have 3, so it's 2, so it's 24. No, 25. Now this cavalry, each of them has 4, so they have 2 and 2. It was 25, 29. These tanks have 3, and they have also these 2 companies have 3 each, so they have now totally of 2 and 2. So it was 29 plus 4, 33. They have 4, so it's 2, so it's 35, and now they have 5, so it's 3, so it's 36. I think I counted well. There is a lot of units and a lot of halving, so I might make a mistake. I think let's go. Let's say it's 35 against 2, 4, 5, and 3. So it's 8. 35 against 3. It's 4 to 1. And now 5 to 1 because of combat engineers. We get no modifiers from stars because we are attacking through the river. So it's 5 to 1 because of combat engineers. 4 to 1 because of the fortification, and 3 to 1 because of the star. Yes, I know there are Polish combat engineers too here as well, but combat engineers provide you a modifier only when you are attacking, not for the defense. So we had 5 to 1, 4 to 1, and 3 to 1. So we have 3 to 1. Now let's make a roll. It is 9. 9 in the 3 to 1. It is B1. So defender has to retreat 1 hex. And I will move here with this stack. So now let's check for losses. Germans had 35, -1 and -2, so it's 21, 25. As you may ask for combat engineers, yes, they provide a modifier for combat results table, but not for the losses table. So let's make a roll. Ooh, 6. This is not a very good roll. It was 35 plus 2, 21, 25, 6. Only 1 strength point loss for Polis. So nothing really devastating. And now Polis, they had 8. So it's 610 plus 1 plus 2, 16, 20. It is 6 as well. 1 strength point loss for Germans too. So nothing really shocking as well. I will give these combat engineers 1 step loss. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the German combat phase. Next we are moving into the German supply phase, and now these German tanks are definitely out of supply because you can't trace the supply road through the big river while there is no bridge, of course, because you can make it through when you have a bridge, but these Germans are out of any bridges because this hex is in the Polish zone of control, so you cannot trace the supply road here. So I have marked these German tanks are out of supply. Okay, and that's all when it comes to the German actions. We are going into the Polish actions. Okay, these units were forced to retreat, so they cannot fortify themselves now. Because when unit has to retreat, it cannot fortify itself. So I will make it like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. These combat engineers move here. This cavalry retreats here. This Polish battalion fortifies itself here. You have to spend all your movement points to fortify yourself. This infantry battalion fortifies here. And now this group: 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are standing here. Now this Polish battalion: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, that's all when it comes to Polis. And this concludes second daily turn of this scenario. We are moving into the night turn. Night turn comes with a certain limitations, like you can only move 1 hex or 2 movement points. Your strength when you are attacking is halved. You cannot use your AO units, so this can be a problem. So we are starting first night turn. Night turn. I cannot use my AO units. Even so, Germans are still receiving some reinforcements. These are 2 artillery units and 1 SS recon unit. So they are entering from hex 400, like the other units of the Panzerdivision Kampf. So let's place them here. They won't be able to do much in this turn, but they will be quite useful in the day 2. Okay, so what about Germans? I think I will make a movement with artillery. 1, 1, 1, 2. Now they move here. Oh, sorry. They are motorized units, and attacking and moving through the ground road is a half. Oh, I made a mistake before, because I think I moved them with I moved my motorized units down the secondary road with a cost of 1 MP, while the cost for them is half of MP on the secondary road, so they can move even move here, and that's all. And now these guys. If I will move them here, they would have to attack this Polis. And this could be a problem now. So I think all I can do is to move them here, and them here and there, and this stack here, to make this bridgehead even stronger. But as for these tanks, they just move here. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the German movement in this turn. We don't have any attacks. No, we don't have. I cannot even use my artillery for independent combat attack, because it moved, and in the night turn artillery can fire only if it's fortified. So I have no use for this artillery. Okay, that's all. And now Polis. So I will retreat here into the fortification. I will move this battalion here. And I think that's all for Polis. Not much for them to do either. So this... Oh, no. I still forgot about one thing. Poles are getting their reinforcements. They get 2 infantry battalions and 1 headquarter of the 41 Infantry Division. And these units are entering from 2210. So 2210 is here. So they are appearing on this hex, and they still can move 1 hex or 2 movement points. So 1, 2. Again, not much to do in this day, but like I said, they can be used in the next day of combat. Also, I forgot to remove this out of supply marker, because these tanks are already in supply. And now we finish the first day of battle. Just like in the history, Germans made their way through the river Narew, capturing Różan and the bridge on the river, and securing quite a solid bridgehead on the other part of the river. Now we can go on and play the other day, when Germans have to make their way through the woods nearby and to move here. Well, I'm thinking if I should play it or not. I think I will. It can be quite an interesting play. So we'll be playing we'll be playing a 6th of September now battle with Germans trying to defeat units of the Polish 41 Infantry Division and 33 Infantry Division. So let's carry on with the second day of our battle. Germans are getting some new reinforcements, of course. These are 3 battalions of the 27 Infantry Regiment. They are starting on the 206 hex, so here, and 1 infantry unit on the 12th Infantry Division. It is starting here as well. Okay, and of course our trusty force. I'm going to place it here, and we can go right into the German movement phase. So what Germans are going to do now is to make their way through these woods. This can be a problem for the German tanks, because the German tanks, while fighting through the woods, cannot use their star modifiers and have their strength halved. So this is a job rather for infantry than for tanks, and tanks will make a much better use as quick as they will make through the woods and fight on the open ground. So what I'm going to do, I'm starting to move with these tanks. 1, next I have woods, and as for moving down the woods, I have to pay 2 additional movement points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's all. Cannot move any further because I would have to spend 3 movement points to enter this hex, and I have only 10, and I already spent 8. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I will try to move out of these woods with my tanks as quick as possible. Now I have to attack these Poles because they are standing on my way. 1, 2. I will use my cavalry along with combat engineers, and looks like I will have to use my tanks anyway. So they are moving here, here, and they are moving here, here, and here. Okay, as for my artillery, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, enemy is in the range of my guns. Now these guns will move. 1, 2. I will have quite a number of artillery, and this is something that which was a real problem for Poles during this campaign, because Germans usually had a huge advantage in the artillery. So now my infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Infantry is much more effective when attacking into the woods because it doesn't have its strength halved. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to remember that I can only use 24 strength points attacking from a single hex. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now when motorized unit moves down the clear terrain, it spends 1.5 movement points. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 6, 6.5, and woods 2, 6.5, so it's 9.5, 11, and 14. So that's all. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all when it comes to the German movement phase. And next we have Polish counterattack phase. Well, not much. Of course, this Polish stack could move here and attack the German tanks and armored cars, but I think this can be a disaster. So no, I'm not going to do so. And that's all. Not much for Poles to do. So now we are going into the German combat phase. And first, I have some artillery here, so I decided that I will use some of my artillery to support this battle, and I will use some of it to make independent artillery fire. And first, if this artillery has Poles in range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, oh my, I forgot to move it. Oh my. Okay, anyway, I cannot move it now because it's already combat phase. So all I can do is to use it somewhere else, like making an independent fire. But I have to use at last 7 points of strength to make an independent artillery fire. So it will stay here and just do nothing. That's sad. Okay, and now I will use these 2 artillery units to make artillery fire on these poles. I have 5 and 5, so I have 10. So let's check it out. I have 10. And the Poles have 2, 4, and 5. So I am firing with a strength of 10 against unit with a strength of 5. So I will use this verse, and I have to subtract -1 because Polish units are fortified, and -1 because they are in the woods. So I am firing with negative modifier for the 2. And I am rolling a single d6, and I get 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So Poles are suffering 1 strength point loss. Not much. But still, maybe it will help me. Yes, it will. Because another Polish unit has its strength reduced. Okay. So that's all when it comes to the artillery fire, and now we go into this combat. We have only one combat to resolve. I was thinking about making attack on these Poles, but I think this this wouldn't give me much, and my goal with these motorized units and mechanized units is moving here as quick as possible. Okay, so let's calculate strength here. 3. Now cavalry. Need to check. Cavalry has 4. So they have 3. Each of these cavalry units have 4, so it's 11. German infantry battalions have 4. And 4, so it is 11, 15, 20, 23, 26, because these tanks have their strength halved, 26, 30, 34, 30, 36 and 38. So I have 38 now. 38 plus 5 is 43. 43 plus 6 is 49. And 49 plus 4 is 53. So I have 53 against 1, 3, 4, 4, 7 and 10. I'm using both of these artillery units, so I have 5 to 1, 6 to 1 because of combat engineers, 5 to 1 because of fortifications, and 4 to 1 because of the woods. So it's 4 to 1, and the roll is 4. I think I should place it here. It won't be a problem, and you will be able to see the rolls. So it's 4 in the 4 to 1. Where is combat table? Here it is. 4 in the 4 to 1 is B2. So defender has to retreat 2 hexes. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Okay, Poles are out, and now Germans might make their pursuit. So 1, 2. Because when you are making a pursuit, you can move. You have to make your first move on the hex which was occupied by enemy, and then you can follow the enemy, or you can go 1 hex out of its retreat route. So that's what I'm going to do. Next, this stack goes here, and then here, and this stack goes here and there. Okay, now let's calculate losses. Germans had 53, so it is 51, 55 verse, -1 because of the woods and -1 because of the fortification, so it's 41, 45, 10. Oh my, 4 strength point loss. I think this means that the entire Polish defense was shattered. Let me check. 1, 1. Yes, all these Polish units are eliminated. Sorry, no, not all. Only this. Only these two. These guys are safe. And now Germans. Poles had 10, so it's 6, 10, +1 because of the woods and +1 because of the fortifications is 60, 20. In 7, only 1 strength point loss. Not much. I hope that Germans will suffer some serious losses, but no. Alright, next we have a German supply phase, and now as for them, here we get supply, and now yes, they still have a supply, so no problem. We have 2, 3. So okay, they have a supply, and we don't have to place them with out of supply marker. And now we are going into the Polish movement phase, and let me check if Poles have any reinforcements now. 6. No, in the second they return. So for now they have to fight with everything they have. So I will fortify these guys here. Now these two battalions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here this battalion, 1, 2, 3, and this artillery along with this infantry battalion are fortifying themselves. And here this battalion might be well, I think I haven't much to do with it now, so let's withdraw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all for Poles. They don't have much to do when it comes to their combat. Sorry. First, we have a German counter-attack phase. So Germans can make any counter-attacks if they want to. Of course, not with units that are already in the enemy zone of controls. So these stacks are unable to do anything, but this and this. Attacking here wouldn't give me much with this stack, so no. And the question is if I want to make an attack with them. Let me think. I think I can. I'm moving here, and I will attack this Polish battalion. So I have 6, 5, so it's 11, and this reconnaissance company battalion, sorry, has 4. So I have 15 against Polish battalion that has 4. So it's I have 15 against 4, so it's 4-1. Now I have 2 stars, so it's 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, and Poles are in the town, so it's 5-1. So it's 5-1. Let's make a roll. Oh my! 5-1 and 11. It is just a B1. So Polish battalion just moves 1 hex away. Germans are entering here. And now let's calculate the losses. Germans had 15 plus 2 because of the stars and minus 1 because of the town. So it's 60-20, 9. So Poles are suffering 2 points loss, 2 strength point loss. And now German losses. Poles had 4. Plus 1 because of the town, minus 2 because of the stars, so it's 2-3, and let's reroll. 3. Yeah! Some German tanks were destroyed. Not bad. It was 117. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the German counterattack. Poles are not making any attacks, so this concludes day 1. Alright, we are going with a second daily turn for the 6th of September, and we are starting with Germans. Again, I can place 1 ground attack AA unit, and Germans are receiving even more reinforcements. Oh my. So what we get is yet another infantry regiment, supported with 2 artillery units, 1 of the light artillery and 1 of the heavy artillery. So you can see the strength difference clearly now. So I am placing all of these units here, and we can start German movement phase. Okay. These guys are all in these 2 Polish units zone of control, and what I'm going to do is to move this unit here 3, 6, 7, and now 8, 9, 10. Sorry, these are mechanized units, and mechanized units on the ground road half of movement points, so I would be able to reach here, but this is town, sorry, this is a city, so I wouldn't be able to use my style modifiers for this attack. That's bad. So I think the best I can do is to move here and to use, and here, and these tanks will fortify themselves in this town, so they will keep these poles away. Okay, that's all for this part. Now here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are moving here. These tanks. 1, 2. This artillery, sorry, cavalry, oh my god, infantry, sorry, follows them. And now this infantry regiment that comes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all moving on this hex. And there are their artillery. 1, 2, 3, along with this one, and and now these guns I forgot about in the previous turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they can't even support this combat here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They move here. These guns have 7 hexes range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now this I have to move these cavalry guns too. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that's all when it comes to the German movement phase. Now the question is where I'm going to use this air force. I think I will use it here because this is my most important attack. And let's go and now first with Polish counterattack phase. Again, nothing. Poles haven't much chance to perform any counterattacks. So let's go and start with a combat here. I am attacking this Polish battalion with these 2 German units. This German armored company has 5 strength points. This SS recon company battalion has 4, so they have 9 against Polish battalion with 3, so they have 3 to 1, and now they have +2, so it's 5 to 1. Poles are in the clear terrain, so no terrain modifiers, so it's 5 to 1. And 8. 8 in the 5 to 1 is B1. So Poles have to retreat, and they have no hexes where they can retreat, because this hex and this hex are in the enemy zones of control, and half hexes are not counting. so they have to suffer 1 strength point loss. And now let's check for losses. The Germans had 9, they have +2, so it's 1, 2, 16, 20. 10 in the 16, 20 is 2. So Polish battalion is eliminated. And even so, we have to make a roll for German losses. Poles had 3, so it's 2, 3, and -2 because of the stars, so it's 1. No losses for Germans. Okay, that's a promising start. Now let's go and check the combat here. This cavalry has a strength of 7. Combat engineers have 3, so they have total of 10. These armored cars have 3. They are halved, so they have 2, so it's 12, 16, 20, and 22. So they have 22. I will give them support of this heavy artillery, which has 6, so they have 28, and of this SS light artillery 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it was 26, and plus 5 it's 31. So they have 31 against 1, 2, and they have 3, so it's 5. So it's 31 against 5, so it's 6-1, 7-1 because of combat engineers, 6-1 because of the woods, and 5-1 because of the fortifications. So we have 5-1 and 7. 5-1 and 7, it is B2. So defender has to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2, and attacker might move there. 1, 2, while this stack goes here and there. So I am making a gap in Polish defense. So this is now that's all. Now I have to count the losses. Germans had 31, 35, -1, -2, it's 21, 25, and 7, so it's only 1 strength point loss for Poles. I think I will make this cavalry weaker. It is 23 division. Okay, and now German losses. Poles had 5, +1, +2, 10. So Germans are suffering 2 strength point loss. Okay, that's not good. Alright, and now the final battle. I have 5 because of my aircraft. Now this artillery moved, so it has 4. This artillery moved as well, so it has 4 as well. So I have 8 plus 5, it is 13. This moved as well, so it has 4, so it's 17. And this moved as well, so it has 5, so it's 23. It is 23. Oh my, I forgot about one thing. We have artillery here and tanks attacking. So this artillery is able to make 1 shot in the fire combat against enemy vehicles. So now I will choose these tanks because their armor is weaker. So I am firing with 1 against 2. Because here is gun factor and here is armor factor. So I'm firing with 1 against 2. So it's -1. I am moving into the combat fire combat table, so I'm firing with -1. So I have roll 2, 3 or 4 for Germans to suffer any losses. No, Germans are all right. And now Germans. Germans have a gun factor of 1 against 1, so it's 0. And now I have to check this unit's strength, because normal artillery always fires only one time, but the unit, any other unit, fires one time for each of its 3 strength points. So this unit has 6 strength points, so it fires twice on this artillery. It has it has 2. You may ask why it is 2 in the parentheses here, because this one is against tanks and 2 is against any other units. So it is 2 against 1, so it is +1, -1 because of the fortification, and -1 because of the woods, because these tanks are attacking. So they have -1 and they are firing twice. 3. Oh, 1 hit, yes, good. And the other, it is a miss. So we scored 1 hit on this Polish artillery. So let's mark it. It's 351. Now the other tanks. Have to check. You can see that these are medium tanks, so they are stronger. But they have only 3 strength points, so they are firing once. And now they have 3 -1, so it's +2. And -1 and -2, so it's 0. Sorry, it is -1. We had 3, -1, it is 2, and -1 because of the fortification, it is 0, and then, sorry, we have 3, let's place them here, 3, against 1 of gun armor, so it's 2, -1 because of the fortification, so it's 1, and -1 because of the woods, so it is 0. Okay, we are firing once with a strength of 0. It is a miss. Any other tanks here? No. So we don't have any other tanks. That's all when it comes to fire combat, and now we can go into the normal combat. So 5, 9, 13, 18, and 22. 22, 26, 30, 34. 34, 36, 37, and 41. We have 41 against 2, and this battalion has 3. So we have 5, and I will use this artillery as support. So we have 8. We have 31 against 8, so it is 5-1. 4-1 because of the woods, and 3-1 because of the fortification. So it's 3-1, 8. It is B1. So Poles have to retreat 1 hex. And first, artillery that has to retreat has to suffer 1 point loss for each hex. So this artillery suffers 1 point loss first, and next Poles cannot retreat because all these hexes are in the German zones of control, so each of them has suffered 1 point loss. Because of that, this artillery is eliminated, and the Polish battalion suffers 1 strength point loss. And now let's calculate losses for Polish and German units. Germans had 41, -1 -2 is 31, 35, 8 is 2. And now German losses. Poles had 8, so it's 610, +1 +2, it's 1620. Ah, good shot. Germans are suffering 2 points loss. Alright, so that's all when it comes to the German combat phase. Now we have to check for German supply, but as for now everything seems to be quite fine. All the German units have supply from this road, so no problem. So we can go to the Polish actions. And I think Poles are getting some reinforcements here. Need to make sure. Różan. Yes. They get 3 infantry battalions and 2 artillery units. And all of them are entering the board from 160 hex. 160 is here. Okay, so I think I will fortify this Polish battalion, these 2 Polish battalions, and now this Polish group is about to retreat. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and now this stack that just entered the game, well, I think they are in danger because you can see they are in the clear terrain and German tanks are nearby. So what I can do with them to make some good use of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let this battalion move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now artillery. 1.5, 2, 3, sorry, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. I will give them this battalion to protect them. I don't think I will. This battalion is already doomed, so I think I will make any good use of it. And now this Polish battalion, I think I will just fortify itself. It might fortify itself. There is not much use. It is cut from any other Polish units, so not much I can do with it. So I think that's all when it comes to the Polish combat phase. And the next thing we have is a Polish counterattack phase. Sorry, German counterattack phase. And can the Germans do any counterattacks? I think the only stack that is allowed to make any counterattack is this stack. What do I have here? 2 cavalry regiments and combat engineers battalion, so they have total of 9. I think I will do. I will move here and counterattack these Poles. I have 9 and they have 1. So there is a big chance that I will be able to destroy them, which is good. So I'm attacking. I have 9 against 1, so it's 9 to 1, 10 to 1 because of the combat engineers, 9 to 1 because of the woods, and 8 to 1 because of the fortifications. 5 in the 8 to 1 is B3. It is B3, so Poles have to retreat 3 hexes. They cannot retreat anywhere, so they are eliminated. Need to mark it. This battalion is gone. And still I have to check for possible German losses. So Poles had 1, plus 1 because of the fortifications, plus 1 because of the woods, so 5. Germans were lucky and they suffered no losses. So next we have Polish combat phase. No attacks for Poles. So we can check for for supply phase, and this Polish battalion is clearly out of supply, so we can mark it. out of supply counter. And I think that's all when it comes to the second daily turn. We are going into the night turn of the 6th of September. Okay, so now, as for Germans, I'm moving my tanks. 1, 2, 1, 2, here, here, here. I'm not eager to make any attacks during the night phase, sorry, night turn. So I will just move all my units a bit closer. 1, 2 movement points, 2 movement points, 2 movement points, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Do I get any reinforcements? I believe not. I believe not. Oh, I get. I get 2 infantry battalions and 1 combat engineers battalion. They enter here. So 1, 2. They are moving here. And that's all. No combat. And next we are going to Poles. So I'm moving this battalion here, these units here, these guys, they will be keeping a way to retreat for these units. And I think that's all. Not much for Poles to do either. Oh, no, they don't get any reinforcements. So this concludes the second day of the combat. Yes, yes. As you can see, Germans managed to control the entire breach on both sides on the river Narew. They managed to make their way through the woods, and they are getting out of the woods, so they are on the good position to attack these Polish units, because they are on the clear terrain. Even if they are fortified, they are probably wouldn't be able to stand this mass German artillery supported with tanks. So I don't think that Poles are in the good situation. So I think we can finish it now. You can see that Germans gained victory by making their way through the woods and controlling the bridge, because controlling the bridge and making their way here is a key for the German victory in this scenario, so they were able to. I think that the key moment for this scenario is the first combat phase. If Germans aren't able to capture this hex, and Poles are able to blow this bridge here because of the combat engineers, then Germans might have a problem. They have to use their combat engineers to make any other bridge on this river, and to make their units coming from the other sides, trying to encircle Polish defense here. Then this scenario goes in much different than we had here. But as for now, we had a good example of Blitzkrieg. So thank you for watching, and see you again.